is a presentation of the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.
The tune-up games are done. It's time to get down to league play, and that means excitement here in the Atlantic Coast Conference. New member Pitt has come calling on NC State. Both teams have looked pretty good in the preseason. The Panthers at 12-1, the Pack 10-3. We're at the PNC Arena in Raleigh. Welcome, everybody. Mike Hawkwood here along with Corey Alexander. Oh, there's nothing like regular season in the ACC.
And we've been talking about it for years. Today we usher in a new era, bringing new member Pitt into the ACC as well as Notre Dame and Syracuse.
It's going to be fun. Let's take a look at our Food Lion starting lineup. And Pitt's got a great player in senior Lamar Patterson. He's improved every season.
And Lamar Patterson not only scoring but leads Pitt in assists and is a true playmaker on the wing.
Now the NC State Food Lion lineup, and there may not be a more improved player in the league than T.J. Warren, who leads the ACC in scoring.
And not only leads the ACC in scoring, but also field goal percentage, which makes him the most efficient player in the league.
Well, again, both of these teams have looked good in preseason, but conference play is a different matter altogether. And we'll get it going on an exciting day of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. Back to Raleigh in a moment.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by BB&T, official bank of the ACC, member FDIC. By Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC.
The Wolf statues outside the Murphy Center of the football stadium, and right next door, PNC Arena. Jamie Dixon, who, by the way, has never lost to one of the traditional ACC teams, not the new teams. He's 11-0 against the ACC in his 11th season. Mark Gottfried in his third year, first two state teams. went to the NCAA tournament, but this team has a totally different look to it than those first two. Both these teams won in their last outing. Pitt beat Albany, and NC State on Monday night won in Greensboro against UNC Greensboro. NC State in our home white. Our officials, Jamie Lucky, Brian Kersey, Sean Hall, and we are ready to go. Pitt, the opening tip, and Corey, both these teams have great point guards.
And that's very true. And James Robinson from DeMatha High School in Hinesville, Maryland, one of the best winners to ever come through that program. And he's just the type of guy that just brings winning to whatever situations he's in.
That's Robinson, who wears 0. Khalid Zana, 42, a good inside player. First shot misses, and that's the freshman point guard, Cat Barber, down with it.
And we talk about great point guards. Cat Barber, McDonald's All-American out of Newport News, and one of the quickest basketball players in the country right now, hence the nickname Cat. He used to be Big Cat. Now he's just Cat.
Quick as a cat. Moved into the starting lineup 4 games in. The pass inside to Leonard Freeman from T.J. Warren.
And that's where NC State does their damage. They are one of the best two-point shooting teams in the country. They shoot an extremely high percentage inside the three-point arc, and that's where they love to attack.
65%. Here's Desmond Lee. Warren has it taken away, and 2 turnovers by both teams. Pitt missed their first 2 shots. Cat Barber. Barber has only made 1 3-pointer in the last 5 games. Has not shot the ball well from behind the arc.
And right now, that's not his strength as Michael Youngs knocks down the jump shot from the baseline, but that's not necessarily his strength as of right now. He's a guy that likes to get into the paint and cause havoc on your defense. And that's one of the things for Pitt is going to be important for them to contain him and keep him out of your lane, because he doesn't only create for himself but for his teammates.
And Corey, NC State lost on this court as Warren drives and scores. They said they lost last Saturday to Missouri, and T.J. Warren, he's going to be a key today.
And T.J. Warren is one of those guys, you just mark 20 in the book. He's going to have 20 points, but it's up to Pitt as to how hard he has to work to get them. Patterson
at the other end. Warren's averaging 24 points a game, and as we said, leads the ACC in scoring. Deep 3, Desmond Lee.
And Desmond Lee came out of junior college with a big reputation as a three-point shooter. Really hasn't manifested yet here at NC State, but he gets off to a great start here this afternoon.
Just his 10th three-pointer of the season. Robinson can't answer. Both these teams like to be quick in transition. Khalid Zana, who has played well in the post for Pitt this year.
And NC State getting it started off very well here at home. And T.J. Warren, this is how he scores his baskets, getting to the rim. But Desmond Lee knocking down the 3, adding that dimension to NC State that they struggled with early in the season. If they get that going, they'll be extremely difficult to guard.
Here's Zana blocked by Vandenberg. What a difference Jordan Vandenberg has made this year. Barber the other end and 1.
As NC State continues, if they get better defensively, this is a way they can do it. Jordan Vandenberg coming up with the help defense, and this is where Cat is at his best. Getting out in transition, scoring at the rim. He's a guy that is both fast and quick, and I know most people think that they're synonymous, but really they're not. He can go end to end quickly, but he also can change directions faster than pretty much anyone in the country.
Again, he moved into the starting lineup 4 games into the season. And you saw that block by Jordan Vandenberg, the redshirt senior from Australia, having by far his best year in a Wolfpack uniform. Patterson number 21, has yet to score. All NC State here early. Good pass to Young. And this road rim is very unfriendly so far to Pittsburgh.
It's going to be important for Pitt to do just what they did there. NC State wants to get out in transition. Pitt is going to have to get back and build that wall because State wants to attack the basket at any possible moment.
Barber has it knocked away. Pitt just 1 for 7 to start here early, and NC State up 8. Fast analysis. State's been great on the break.
And fast is right. Cat Barber getting down the paint into the lane, but kicking it out. Des Lee filling in for the three-pointer. And then Cat showing his quickness to the rim, finishing, and also capping it off with the free throw, making it a 6-0 advantage for NC State in transition. And that's the way they want to be able to play. They don't want to play against Pitt's set defense. They want to beat them down the floor.
And that is our AT&T fast analysis. Shot clock is at 5. I'm not sure Barber's aware of that. Warren takes it and hits it. Wow.
And that's the area of TJ Warren's game that really hasn't shown, but he is a capable three-point shooter. That was a little bit of desperation, but you see Pitt coming out of the timeout going to the zone because NC State has been slicing them up in the man-to-man.
Vandenberg the rebound. Warren only 23% on the year from behind the arc, but he hits again, and Warren now with 7 of NC State's 15 points, and Jamie Dixon's going to call timeout.
And you mentioned him hitting again, and you see TJ Warren extending the defense with the jump shot right here, but a desperation three, simply because NC State didn't know the shot clock. But TJ Warren is a more than capable shooter, and you see as he shows his confidence in his jump shot. I had the opportunity to work TJ Warren out when he was in high school, and he was a guy that I didn't even want to change his shot, although I may have seen a couple mechanical flaws. Didn't want to change it because they kept going in.
Corey, let's get your 4 keys to today's game.
Well, for Pitt, they have to limit the easy buckets for TJ Warren, in which early in this game hasn't happened. He's already gotten off the 7-point start. On the other side, NC State has to take care of the basketball because Pitt is a very good team running in transition when they come up with turnovers. But if they don't get those easier baskets, it's more difficult for them to score.
Well, TJ hasn't missed a shot yet. 7 points. Might make a note that this is Pitt's first true road game of the season. And it comes in their first ever ACC game. They've played 3 games on neutral courts. Coming up next, many of you will see either Miami, Syracuse, or Georgia Tech, Maryland on a big day of Atlantic Coast Conference basketball. This truly the opening day of the regular season.
You see the enforcement of the rules, impeding progress. You have to allow offensive players freedom of movement, and that's one of the things that the officials will have to look at, and many people have looked at and said, okay, we know they'll call it in the non-conference season, but what will happen when we get to conference play? As you see, TJ Warren going to set the screen. As he comes off the Vandenberg screen, the Pitt defender not allowing him to move.
That was Patterson, first miss by Warren. Follows his own shot.
TJ going a little Moses Malone right there. 3 field goal attempts, but 2 offensive rebounds on the same possession, ending up with 2 more points for the ACC's leading scorer.
That's showing your age, Corey. Moses Malone, of course, one of the all-time greats. Barber quickly in transition. Well, it's been all TJ Warren so far for NC State.
This is how he's so efficient. He's not just a guy that wants to stand around and shoot jump shots. You see him working the offensive rebounds, and when you shoot 55% field goal percentage, and you're leading the league in scoring right now, 4 for 6, and the only shots he's missed are those tips on the offensive rebound. That's how he's so efficient as a basketball player.
Corey, he's had 2 halves this year where he scored 25 or more points. He scored 30 or more 3 times, more than any other ACC player. Good job by Zana, and he's fouled on the way up. Talib Zana, who's from Nigeria, and has had a great year with 4 double-doubles this season. Closed captioning for ACC basketball provided by Bojangles, famous chicken and biscuits. It's Bojangles.
Mike, Pitt was excited about coming into ACC territory and really getting their ACC, career basically started off. I don't think they were expecting this, and Pitt is a very good defensive team as we see them go to a zone now against NC State, but I don't believe they were expecting this barrage. They knew NC State was young and talented, but I don't think this was the type of performance they were expecting early.
Zano missed both those free throws. This Pitt team is on pace to be a school record free throw team. And nothing has gone right for them here early. Drive and a bucket there by Josh Newkirk, who's coming off the bench.
And Newkirk, of course, wanting to have a great showing in his first ACC game as he's a Raleigh native, played locally at Word of God High School. So for him, it's a homecoming in his first ACC game, and he definitely wants to have a positive impact for the Pitt Panthers.
He's the first Tobacco Road native to ever sign and play at Pitt. Also has another distinction, and he's one of the first players to ever commit to where he's going on Twitter. Shows you how big Twitter has become lately.
It's the way of the world now. It's just the way of the world.
Pittsburgh went over 5 minutes between field goals. Vandenberg.
I'm not sure if I'm more impressed with that pass or the finish by Vandenberg. Great play by the 2 big guys in the post for NC State.
What a different player he is this year than he's been in his previous seasons. At NC State, Vandenberg went for the block. I think he's going to be whistled for the foul.
And you want to talk about great interior passing. You see Washington with the great pass, but look at body control and the vision by Vandenberg to be able to finish that with his back to the basket. That's like the old Mikan drill that you work on to develop your post game back when I was a post player.
Yeah, here. Jamel Artis, freshman from Baltimore, Maryland, in the game now. Hits the free throw. A couple of freshmen have made a difference for this Pitt team, Artis and Mike Young. Kyle Washington in the game, you just mentioned him. He had his career game last Saturday here in that tough loss to Missouri.
They're trying to see if this zone can slow down NC State's offense.
Barber, Washington the rebound.
Great presence of mind there by T.J. Warren to be able to come up with the tie ball. But one of the things that Coach Damien Dixon talked to us about, even though he was playing more zone, it was a concern about how they were rebounding. And you see NC State attacking. T.J. Warren, great presence of mind to be able to come up with that tie ball to get the possession back to NC State. But you see NC State 2 more offensive rebounds in that possession. And Jamie Dixon has to decide whether he can play this zone if his guys aren't going to be able to rebound.
All the 50-50 balls right now going the way of NC State. Timeout called, 11:50 to go, first half. Folks, it's been all NC State here in this ACC Open.
And back at PNC Arena, T.J. Warren has put on an early show, driving the ball to the basket, knocking down threes, and more importantly, attacking the offensive boards against Pittsburgh. And right now, T.J. Warren alone holds a 9-6 advantage over Pittsburgh, and he has really been the story early today.
And as you said, Corey, the #1 scorer in the ACC, #1 in field goal percentage. You know, he lost 20 pounds in the offseason, and it has made a big difference.
It really has. And he's a guy that's always been able to score. That was never a question. A huge scorer, McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. Last year really had to share the wealth because there was so much talent around him. But with this young team, he's really taken on a leadership role, and it's paid off for the Wolfpack.
Ralston Turner just in the game now. You talk about three-point shooters. That's his big rep.
It is that, and NC State needs a guy like Ralston Turner. Of course, Scott Wood, who made threes galore here for the last 4 years in his career at NC State. They don't have a guy like that right now. And for this NC State team to be successful, they're going to have someone that can stretch the defense, especially against the zone.
Turner's a transfer from LSU. Had 95 threes in 2 seasons in Baton Rouge. Life on the road in the ACC is never easy, and Pitt is finding that out in their first ACC ever game. Neither of these teams turn it over very much. That was the third turnover, and another rebound by NC State. Corey, in rebounding, Pitt is plus 10 on the year. That's best in the league.
Yeah, but right today, you see they're a -9 against NC State, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that every time NC State shoots the basketball, they have 4 guys actively pursuing getting the offensive rebound. So if they don't make it, they're going to be in play to come up with another possession.
Warren out of the lineup now for NC State. Freeman came in to replace him. So we'll see what the Wolfpack can do without their star on the floor. Washington pass a little too tall to the 7-1 Vandenberg.
And that's saying something there.
Yeah. Patterson. That is Patterson's first bucket of the game, the Pitt leading scorer.
And if Pitt's going to get back into this game, they're going to need his production, and he's not necessarily going to do it from behind the three-point line. He's going to attack the basket. But what he does is put so much pressure on the opposing team's defense, and not only because he can shoot, but also because he's such a great playmaker.
7 to shoot for NC State. Barber will take it and hit it. Oh, what a move by Cat Barber.
And especially against the zone, continue to penetrate regardless of whether Pitt's playing man-to-man or zone, getting into the paint. That shows a special skill from Cat Barber.
He's got 5 points here in the first half. Patterson drives. State's done a good job on him so far. Not a good pass from Barber that time. Here's Robinson. Boy, it's been tough going inside. Jamel Artis with his 4th point of the first half.
But if there's anything that Pitt takes advantage of, is just that scoring off of turnovers. They're one of the best in the country at doing so.
Largest lead for NC State has been 15. Turnover will count. So Patterson's starting to come alive.
We talked about one of our keys was NC State had to take care of the basketball. It's a simple key, yet when you look at it and how Pitt is able to turn those defensive stops into points, that's one of the reasons that they don't score that well in the half court, but they're a great transition team, and when they're able to get out and get easy buckets, it builds that confidence for them offensively.
Patterson, a 79% free throw shooter. As I mentioned, Pitt shooting 75% from the line on the year. And Pitt getting back in this game now on a 9-2 run.
And it's really been this zone, other than that three-pointer made by T.J. Warren, this zone from Pitt has really slowed down NC State's offense.
Tyler Lewis, number 12, into the lineup for NC State. He was a starter in the first 4 games of the year. Again, a pass intended for Vandenberg. Hits the rim. He's so tall, you know you got to throw it up high. But those are missing by just a couple of inches.
But it's also another turnover by Pitt, and NC State actually gets it back and turns it over again. That's one of the things that's going to be extremely important for NC State. They've got to capitalize against those. Pitt will understand how to defend them in this zone. They can't give away those opportunities.
Corey, both these teams average just 10 turnovers a game. They've both been pretty efficient in not turning the ball over in this November-December part of the schedule.
The one thing that you and I both know is conference play is different. And defenses are different, competition's different. You're going to see the true character of a team once they have to start playing these conference games.
Artis. Jamel Artis has had a great first half so far. 6 points. He only averages 5 a game.
And it's been Artis and Newkirk, and the freshmen really for Pitt have been the guys who really got them settled in. Now they've got their veterans back in there, but it was the freshmen that really got them back into this game.
And T.J. Warren getting ready to come back in. Pitt trying to get back in this, and they're going to their senior, Lamar Patterson, 21-15. A 15-point state lead has been sliced now down to 6. Ruby Tuesday takes us around the ACC to check in on conference action later today. Many of you will see either Miami, Syracuse, or Georgia Tech, Maryland. And there's a big game in South Bend this afternoon.
And Mike Krzyzewski goes out to take on one of his former assistants, Mike Bray. So the first time that Coach K is going to have to consistently play against one of the guys from his coaching tree. It'll be interesting to see as Duke travels to Notre Dame, as Notre Dame starts their ACC life.
And they're having to do it without Jerian Grant. The ACC.com/social hub is your source for the latest ACC buzz on social media. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget to tag your basketball tweets and photos with the hashtag ACCMBB. The ACC.com/social hub, your official ACC social media source. B.J. Anya on the floor for NC State for the first time, number 21. Big guy, 6'9", 325.
B.J. Anya and James Robinson actually played together in high school at DeMatha. And you think about the guys that they've had come through there recently, tremendous talent.
Warren. Move inside by Zana, his first points. NC State, Corey, started 6 of 8, red hot. Since then, just 3 for 12.
And you and I talked with Jamie Dixon before the game, and he said they will play some zone. They started playing more and more zone simply because of the new rules regarding using your hands on defense. And the zone has paid off for the Panthers early.
Lewis can't hit it. There's Anya with the follow. He had not scored a point in his last 2 games. UNCG, Missouri. Anya battled for the rebound, and
And B.J. Anya making his presence felt early in the game as you see him going above the rim using that 7'9" wingspan to finish it up on the offensive rebounding, and another opportunity for NC State to get points off their offensive boards. That's what they've dominated this game, and B.J. Anya doing a great job coming in, giving NC State a presence on the interior.
Corey, that's hard to imagine, a 7'9" wingspan.
And the calculations that the NBA has uses to measure your wingspan is the largest ever wingspan that they have recognized.
Anya again! You're right, he's making his presence felt here coming in off the bench. Anya, who only averages playing 10 minutes a game and only 2 points a game, now has 4 on 2 dunks. Newkirk. Three misses badly from Desmond Lee.
B.J. Anya getting another opportunity at the rim. Cat Barber with the great penetration and the dish. One of the underestimated part of Cat Barber's games. Everyone knows of him as a scorer, but he is a willing passer. And right there, B.J. Anya allowing him to capitalize for Barber's 4th assist.
Leads this team in assists. Had 6 assists Monday night in that win over UNCG, which was a tough game. Big bucket and a much-needed one from Josh Newkirk.
Newkirk really giving Pitt a lift early in this game. His 2nd bucket now. But he has really come in and played very poised for a freshman coming into his first ACC game, especially coming back home to Raleigh. But I'm sure he wants to put on a show in front of his friends and family.
Good on you. Go down on the floor to get that loose ball. Warren in the paint. Lamar Patterson down with the rebound. Good pass inside. Anya impacted that shot again. Boy, you cannot say enough about what B.J. Anya has done coming in off the bench. Warren.
If you talk about NC State, you really got to talk about these freshmen. B.J. Anya has been a huge production here early in the first half, and then Cat Barber getting out in transition, finding teammates, being a true point guard, which was the question mark. Could he do that coming into college basketball?
Foul on NC State's on Desmond Lee. It'll be his 2nd. But the freshman from Gaithersburg, Maryland, B.J. Anya, making a difference for NC State. The ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports. The ACC Network currently reaches over 100 affiliates in 34 different states. Largest lead has been 15, but you can see Pittsburgh has cut into that as we take a look at our game sum.
And the way they've been able to do it is the points off of turnovers. NC State already 7 turnovers in this game. Pitt 9 points off those turnovers. 4 of their 6 field goals have come off of NC State's turnovers. So NC State doing a great job in their half-court defense. Is just when they give Pitt that advantage that they've taken advantage of.
Offensive foul called. Jamie Dixon's team's done a really good job here on the road, battling to get back in this as we come down to the final 3 minutes of the first half.
And Mike, one of the things you talked about is B.J. Anya's presence in the first half, and he really hasn't done it in the non-conference schedule. But one of the things when these teams play against non-conference foes is we see T.J. Warren scoring again inside the paint at the basket for NC State. But when you talk about that, when they play against the non-conference teams, they don't have as many bigs. And so guys like B.J. Anya, they kind of get left out of the rotation. But when you play against a Pitt that has size, his presence is felt even more because he's able to get more minutes on the court.
Great point. Emphasizing that point again, Anya did not score in the last 2 games. Cameron Wright's first bucket.
And that's where you find Cam Wright. He's not really much of a three-point shooter, but a very good mid-range game. He led Pitt in scoring with 14 points in their last game out against Albany, but a very efficient guy, does a lot of different things on the court.
And he's been playing a lot better lately. Wright's got double figures in 7 of his last 9 games, so he could be important as this game continues. 43% from behind the arc. He leads NC State in that category. That's his 25th three-pointer of the year, and it puts the lead back up to 10.
And we talked about how they were going to have someone that could stretch the defense when they have to play against that zone, and Rawson Turner is that guy for NC State, able to step up and knock down three-pointers. And really, you just have to have a guy that teams recognize that there's a shooter on the floor.
Coming up on the Hardy's Halftime Report, we'll give you a preview of our first Kings of the Court show. The Emmy-nominated show will feature stories on former ACC greats Chris Paul and Charlie Ward. All that plus highlights and stats on the Hardy's Halftime Report. Of course, Kings of the Court, hosted by my partner, Corey Alexander. Look forward to hearing about the first edition of that show.
Absolutely. We enjoy it and getting the opportunity to hang out with Chris Paul and go bowling for a day. And then, of course, my favorite two-sport athlete of all time, Charlie Ward.
We saw a shot of Phil Spence. We were talking about big guys. That guy can play in the middle for NC State. Final 2 minutes of the first half. And I think these are important 2 minutes for Pitt.
The one thing about Pitt, this is a veteran team. They've got a number of guys who have been through the battles before. They haven't been ACC battles, but they've been Big East battles, and believe me, those weren't easy battles for them at all. As you see, Zana getting it in the post and going against B.J. Anya, and Anya's arm is down a bit, so therefore he looks immediately to the bench and says, "My fault," which means that's the admission of guilt. Because I still would have been arguing, I never fouled.
Anya, or Zana rather, 0 for 3 now from the free throw line.
Didn't shoot the free throws well against Albany in their last game, but as you mentioned before, they are on a record pace for free throw shooting as a team for the Pitt Panthers this year. So they're going to have to take advantage of those opportunities at the free throw line. And had they done that against Cincinnati, they would be undefeated coming into this game.
Lost by 1 point to Cincinnati, 44-43. And their Freeman's fouled on the way up. You know, Corey, Pitt in what I guess we could call the preseason's average margin of victory has been 18 points a game. That's the largest in the ACC. They've got to now get used to playing these close games in league play.
This is true. They didn't play a great schedule in the non-conference. You know, they had a tough game against Cincinnati. Outside of that, not a tough schedule. They did have a quality win against Stanford. But when you look at them coming into what they're going to have to play against right now, they are going to have to, you know, play and win close games. They also didn't play a true road game in their first 13 games. So, you know, when you come out on the road, it definitely makes a huge difference. As we see Leonard Freeman And I have to mention another Oak Hill.
I was going to say, Oak Hill. I was going to mention Oak Hill. I was bringing that up. Gary Alexander product there. You know, he only turned 18 years old on December 10th in Freeman, and there's another foul by Anya. That's going to be his second at the 120 mark, and it's going to put Pitt in the bonus.
You know, Leonard Freeman, you mentioned only turning 18 December 10th, a young guy, so you know what that makes him, right?
What?
A wolf pup.
A wolf pup, all right, please. Please.
Come on.
This is the first day. The first day of the regular season. Well, listen to the hand for B.J. Anya, who just picked up his second foul. Comes out Vandenberg in to replace him.
And B.J. Anya, right now, his conditioning is not going to allow him to play huge minutes. But as he continues throughout his NC State career, he is going to be a big-time player here. As you see those long arms at wingspan, his ability to defend, and he's a much better offensive player than he's really been showing, although he's looked pretty good today. He will continue to develop and be a very good player here for the Wolfpack. And he's not a Wolf pup.
He is a freshman.
He is a freshman. He's too big to be a pup.
Too big to be a Wolf pup. Now Zana, after missing his first 3 free throws, has made three in a row. After going down 15, Pitt got as close as 4 at 21-17. There's the lob to Vandenberg. Now, wait a minute. That shot might have gone in without Vandenberg touching it.
It did go in without Vandenberg touching it, and had he not touched it, seeing that was going in, it would have been a three-pointer for Cat Barber. But they waved the basket off because he does touch it. It's just a little bit further off than the famous Lorenzo Charles alley-oop, which is, of course, tremendously significant here in Raleigh with the Wolfpack.
I should say so. Right. You know, Vandenberg against East Carolina had 18 points and 7 dunks, and those dunks came on a play just like that. And speaking of that, how about Derek Wittenberg back on the bench for NC State this season?
And that's my man, and Witt is the one who took that shot that Lorenzo Charles followed up for the dunk to win the 1983 NCAA championship. But I tell you right now, to this day, Witt would tell you it was a pass. I'm not going for it, but he's going to tell you it was a pass.
And how big is it for him to come back here as director of player development now for NC State? And
it's huge, and you see most college programs are bringing someone back in that development role, a guy who's had success in that particular program, and I think it just pays dividends for the university to have kind of that ambassador between the coaching staff and the players, but someone who has been through the ropes at that respective university.
We're in the final minute of the first half. Pitt has fought back to make a game of it. Both Barber and Lewis on the floor now for NC State. 7 to shoot. Lewis has the ball stripped away. And Wright's able to get a timeout call with 18.1 seconds left.
And if you're Pitt right now, you want to see if you can go into the locker room with some momentum. Mentioned they were down 15 earlier in the half, and now cutting this game to 8, but they can get it down to 6 or even 5 points going into halftime.
Now this is a program that in the Big East had a lot of success. They've been to the NCAA tournament 11 of the last 12 years, and under Jamie Dixon, 6 Big East titles, 4 regular season. As we said, 11 to 12 times for the NCAA tournament. I think this is a great addition to the ACC.
And no question about it, 2 #1 seeds in the NCAA tournament. And Jamie Dixon, one of the top coaches in the country, one of the fastest coaches of all time to get to 200 wins. And has just had a tremendous coaching career. And you look at Pitt over the last, 10, 12 years has been one of the premier basketball programs in college basketball.
You saw one of college basketball's winningest programs over the last 13 years. Very impressive numbers. Doing it the defensive end. Warren got a hand on it. Vandenberg blocks it right at the end of the half. Big play by the senior Jordan Vandenberg. And NC State We land at one time by 15. As you see, they're 9-1 when leading at the half. We'll take an 8-point lead into the locker room, 34-26. T.J. Warren led the way in the first half with 13 of NC State's 34 points. Our Hardee's halftime report's on the way.
Welcome to the ESPN3 College Basketball Halftime Report. I'm John Brickley. We'll get you out to the second half of your game in just a moment. But first, it's time to check out some of the latest news and stories bouncing around the college hardwood. Let's take a look.
It was a hard decision to make. You know, I love you guys. I'm a Cowboy in heart. So, looks like I'm coming back for my sophomore year.
Marcus, were you surprised at the surprise when you decided to come back for your sophomore year?
No, not at all. You know, I kind of expected it. You know, being a top 5 potential pick, to turn down that type of money, I knew I was going to get a little, I knew I was going to raise a little eyebrows on that.
What is it that you felt that you've needed to work on to get to the next level as a player?
My outside shooting. You know, a lot of players are going to, you know, back off me and you know, allow me to shoot the 15-footer to the three-point shot. And last year I didn't shoot it very well, so, you know, that was another big reason I stayed. You know, before I go, I wanted to increase my percentage.
What went into your decision?
You know, I really talked to my mom about it, my family members, Coach Ford, my team here. You know, one of the big reasons I really didn't like how we performed as a team against Oregon in the NCAA tournament. You know, as a competitor, you know, I hate losing, and especially when I know that I didn't leave it all on the court. That's the worst way for me to lose, and that's how I felt. So, you know, I just felt as an individual I couldn't let myself down or my teammates down like that.
Coach Aaron is a really intense coach. He wants everything to be perfect.
Get in it, get in it, get it! You get beat, don't foul. This is why players foul. They don't want to move their feet.
I think for me, the first 2 years were kind of a struggle with first being a freshman and just not understanding how to buy into his kind of thought process and everything. And then junior year, definitely bought in completely. Came to practice the exact same way every day, and I think I'm continuing it now, too, in senior year.
Good. That's the way to work, Steph. Good work in there.
He wants to get the best out of you, and you don't always want to hear it. Especially I don't always want to hear it.
For somebody that good, she gives up quickly.
In the end, it's going to help us become a better team, become better players.
Then this guy throws it to the corner, and we go like this. Who are we running, cross country?
Me and Coach Ari, I might have a love-hate relationship, and it goes both ways. He's always trying to motivate me, and that no matter what, even if he's getting on me, I just have to have the right mindset.
That's better, Bria Harley. Get your hands off of him.
What is the thing that he does that drives you guys crazy?
I hate when we're doing a drill and he either turns away like he's not even watching, or he is talking to someone and then he'll say something wrong that we did about it. And I'm like, you weren't even watching the drill. How do you know?
One of his kind of quotes he always says is, you don't do something until you get it right. You do it until you can't get it wrong.
Slide, slide, go again. Go again. Don't allow your feet to cross. Go again. Wide, wide, and undisciplined. Undisciplined, undisciplined.
You don't want to do a defensive drill 20 times in a row, but at the end of the day, he's going to help me get better and kind of be the best player I can be.
When you make a mistake or do something wrong, and then he comes back and says, hey, I didn't coach well enough, or I didn't do this, you know, you kind of realize how much he cares about you and about the team.
Together, 1, 2, 3. Together. Good job today, guys.
Anderson again for 3.
Marshall sometimes looks crazy, but he's not crazy.
What's the most challenging aspect of coaching him when he's in that moment?
Henderson, long 3. Got it!
Have you ever watched a bull when they're in competition and you're trying to ride the bull for the longest? Sometimes that's how I feel coaching Marshall. At the end, it's a heck of a ride, but it's going to be a hard landing.
Tell me where you grew up.
My dad being a high school coach, he moved around. I first lived up by Wichita Falls, Texas, moved down by Waco, Texas, then moved up to Dallas-Fort Worth area.
How hard was it to play for your dad?
The hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life. Just nonstop coaching. I would go at him pretty hard in practice, and he'd ground me later on, or take the phone away from me at home. There were some pretty intense yelling matches. I would just always just roll on over. About the end of the season, my senior year, it just got to the point where the arguments were just crazy, and they were just like, you gotta go. I just came home one night. They had everything packed up. Going to my mom's parents, I respected the hell out of them, and I wouldn't have done anything, to jeopardize my relationship with them. And so that was actually, I thought, a good move. I didn't really have any money when I was living with my grandparents, and so I was getting into things to where I could, don't have to worry about money anymore.
Such as getting into things like what?
Well, the whole counterfeit money thing, go buy some, drugs and then sell them and get some money, some real money. I didn't realize that counterfeit money was a third-degree felony and that you could, go do Fed time for that. When the Secret Service came to, talk to me, I threw up. That was the first thing I did, just threw up in the trash can. And I was so scared because I'd never really been in trouble, and that kind of helped me. That was like my first thing to get in trouble, and they gave me the probation. And so I'm thankful for that. It scared the wits out of me.
Why did you feel the need to experiment, whether it was cocaine or marijuana?
I had literally a life-changing event that happened. I go to junior college. This is on South Plains, January 11th, 2012. Basically, just something happened with me and my girlfriend, and just drove me insane, pretty much. I just went on 2 days, just straight, just smoking, getting some, went go get some coke, drink, and go into my probation meeting. I'm all kinds of messed up in the meeting, and I tell my probation officer, he was like, all right, well, we're gonna drug test you, blah, blah, blah. My idiot self turned to the dark side, that was my choice at the time. And that's why I wasn't really mad when I went to court and they were like 180 days in jail.
When you were recruiting Marshall Henderson, you'd already been to Utah, to Texas Tech for a little bit, to South Plains. Why'd you take him?
I remember coming back and meeting with my staff saying, we need a basket maker. Go find the best one in the country. They came back with the name Marshall Henderson.
How surprised were you that they still were willing to take you, knowing everything that had occurred prior?
I was pretty surprised. They're like, all right, well, we'll take you. You got a clean slate when you come here. And they're like, we're not gonna tell anyone you went to jail. Just be like, you took the semester off, the summer session off. I was like, awesome. Eventually, obviously, I found out everything. When I first came here, it was so funny, though. Some of my teammates were like, this is the junior college player of the year? This dude is terrible. Because, I've been in jail for a month. We hooped some, but I was hooping in flip-flops, in a jumpsuit. You can't hoop that much. I just kept working. And, I just separated myself from everyone else because I was putting in more work. And then season comes, ready to go.
Henderson, long three. Got it! Are you kidding me?
And then what happens? Why'd you get suspended?
When basketball's not there, it's, always been a bad time for me. And season ended, and then I was like, it's kind of go time, it's party time. I'm like, well, I'm not a professional, so I don't get paid, so why is this frowned upon? Why is me going out and partying when the season's over frowned upon? These people I'm with, future doctors, lawyers, businessmen, they don't have to take drug tests in school right now. Why do I have to take drug tests? And I just kind of just created this unrealistic stuff in my head.
When this all transpired and we made the decision to suspend him, I went about my business preparing this team as if he wasn't going to be here. And then ultimately, the line in the sand was drawn, and he had to make some decisions, as we all do from time to time.
Is there more testing for you than other players?
Oh, yes. I check in every day just for random. I don't know when. Just every single day.
Since you were at Ole Miss, was that the only time that you'd strayed and used in this whole year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. When school starts up in the fall, particularly, I'm like locked in the zone with school and basketball.
How do you know your teammates are going to trust that you're going to stay straight?
Being the only senior and knowing that this is the last go-around, it's just crazy. Like, they have no reason not to trust. Right now, I can't play at the beginning. All I can do is, go the hardest in practice. Every drill I'm going first, so I can set the tone. Be kind of the calming influence.
A bit of an oxymoron for you, though.
That's what I'm
You're
saying.
the calming influence.
I know. See, that's what I'm saying.
Calming and Marshall Henderson, they don't go hand in hand.
I know. It's just crazy how it works out.
We hope you enjoyed that look around college hoops, as that'll do it for the ESPN3 Halftime Report. I'm John Brickley. Enjoy the second half.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Haviland, official motor oil of the ACC. By Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by Gatorade, official corporate partner of the ACC.
There is a section of the old Reynolds Coliseum floor. Reynolds Coliseum still in use by the women's basketball team. Leading scorers, and you'll see that Patterson just with 5 points. He's the leading scorer on the team, almost 17 a game. He'll need to step up in the second half for NC State, as expected. T.J. Warren with 13. And one of the real stories is B.J. Anya, 2 dunks in that first half, and he had even more making his presence felt inside the paint.
And his presence felt inside that paint had a lot to do. Those dunks against the zone defense for Pittsburgh. That's the way Pitt really slowed NC State down. That's how they got back into the game. Because man-to-man, NC State was having everything that they wanted against Pitt's defense, but that zone really slowed them down. I'm sure we'll see a large portion of the zone from Pitt in the second half, but I know Mark Godfrey made adjustments at halftime as to how NC State would attack it.
Pitt will have the opening possession here in the second half. Glad you're with us on this opening day of ACC basketball here on the ACC Network. Scramble for the loose ball and possession arrow to NC State. Pitt comes up empty on that first possession of the half.
And I know that's not what Coach Dixon wanted to see coming out of halftime. Turning the basketball over, giving it back to NC State with the opportunity for them to go down and score without you coming away with any points on the board.
Here's Cat Barber. See his quickness and a great defensive play by Cam Wright. Patterson for 3. Boy, if Lamar Patterson gets hot, what a difference that'll make.
And we talked about his ability to score 30 points against Cal Poly 2 games ago in 30 minutes, so he can definitely put points on the board. It's simply about whether he gets the opportunities or not.
He's made this a 2-possession game. Lead to feed to Vandenberg. Hard to guard against 7-1.
It is, and that's one of the things that NC State looks for. Michael Young is able to step out and knock down threes as well. And for Pitt, 2 of their first 3 possessions in the second half have ended up with 3-pointers. And if they can do that, they can get back into this game quickly. They're not necessarily known for that part of their game, but they have more than enough capable shooters.
This is as close as it's been since NC State took a 15-point lead early in the first half. Barber. Lee on the drive, and he's fouled. Desmond Lee, the junior college transfer from New Mexico Junior College.
You have to credit Jordan Vandenberg for getting on the offensive board and gaining another possession for NC State. That's where they had the huge advantage in the first half, just from the standpoint of just chasing those offensive rebounds, and they came up with so many extra possessions, giving them opportunity to score compared to the Pitt Panthers.
Lee at the line was one of the top junior college players in the country a year ago, averaged over 20 points a game. Had 12 points last Saturday in that close loss to Missouri. He's now got 4. By the way, that was the second foul on Lamar Patterson, a guy that can ill afford to get in foul trouble. Vandenberg impacted the shot again.
Now this is what you're used to seeing from Pitt. As Jordan Vandenberg does a great job coming over and affecting the shot, blocking the shot. But this is what you're used to seeing from Pitt. The energy and the effort on the rebounding. Pitt has always been a rebounding program under Jamie Dixon. You talk about guys like DeVon Blair, who's been successful in the NBA, being an offensive rebounder, and that is what the role of a Talib Zanna is, to go in there and continue to get them possessions. But so far this game has been NC State who's been dominant on the offensive board.
Zanna hits both free throws. Lead is cut back down to 4.
Pitt changing up, going to man-to-man right now. And you've got James Robinson, the point guard for Pitt, guarding T.J. Warren.
Now Pitt down with the rebound. Chance to make this a one-possession game. Great pass inside to Cam Wright.
We talked about Lamar Patterson, his ability to make plays. And one thing that Jamie Dixon is finding with James Robinson throwing the ball ahead to both Cam Wright and Lamar Patterson, because both those guys are playmakers, as we see Lamar Patterson getting in the lane with the nifty quick pass to Cam Wright, who finishes off, cutting the game in two.
Fast analysis.
As we talked about transition points, it was NC State in the first half that was getting out, but there in the second half, Lamar Patterson has had his imprint on the game, out in transition, knocking down the three, and then making a play for Cameron Wright, and has been Pitt on a 10-2 run in the second half to get him back in this game.
Score was 34-26 at halftime. Pitt has never led in this game. We were tied at 2. That foul is on Robinson, his second.
And James Robinson gives away a number of inches guarding T.J. Warren, but James Robinson's one of the toughest defenders in the ACC, let alone college basketball. So he will make plays, and every pocket says he comes up with another foul, 2 fouls in his possession. But he has no problem mixing it up and getting physical. Now his third foul, he's going to have to be very careful as we see Newkirk coming in. That really will change the defensive philosophy for Pitt and Coach Jamie Dixon.
Robinson 6'3", Warren is 6'8". You're right, there's a height difference. It's made it tough for Robinson.
But I tell you what, I've seen both those guys play a long time. When it comes down to strength, I don't think there's any advantage there from T.J. Warren. James Robinson may be one of the strongest guys playing basketball as well.
But now on the bench with 3 fouls. Wright whistled for the foul for Pitt.
Now that's 3 times on this possession alone that T.J. Warren has been fouled, and that shows you the amount of attention that Pitt is going to pay to him, simply because he is such a great scorer, and he's able to still come up with the easy look that he's unable to take advantage of.
Warren shot a little too strong. Quickly in transition, Pitt. Here's Newkirk, who's just come into the game. And he's fouled. We've seen a number of fouls called in the last couple of minutes. Corey, you brought this up at the beginning of the broadcast. Were we going to see games called little different in conference play? And I think we've seen the answer to that is no.
When I had the opportunity to go to the ACC officials conference, and it was a strong point of emphasis, and that was one of the biggest concerns. We can't allow this type of hand checking and the freedom of movement not to be called once we get to ACC play. And these veteran officials have really stayed put with what they're supposed to be doing. As we see another foul on this possession.
And that's the third foul on Desmond Lee, as the fouls here in the second half really piling up.
As you see Desmond Lee coming off, and it's just stopping the movement of Lamar Patterson. It's that simple. He doesn't like it, but and of course, everyone wants to fault the referees. The officials don't make these rules. It's not their rules. They are doing their job at enforcing the rules that the NCAA has set.
That's an offensive foul inside.
Bernard Freeman doing a great job getting outside the circle to set his body. Now, honestly, that one is questionable simply because of the way that the rules have changed this year, where you have to be set before the player starts his upward motion. I'm not sure if that was the proper call, because I believe that Zahn had already started his upward motion before Bernard Freeman got there.
That was the second foul on Zahn. Here's Barber. Patterson on the drive. Lamar Patterson now with 5 points in the second half. He had 5 all total in the first.
And Mark Godfrey and I talked about that this morning, making sure that we did not give Pitt opportunities in transition. They don't want Lamar Patterson getting going and making plays.
We're tied for the second time today. Turner, short. NC State has had a tough time shooting it here in the second half. Count the bucket. Cameron Wright has given Pitt the lead for the first time in the game. And he'll go to the line.
Lamar Patterson finishing with the left hand, doing a great job getting out in transition, but it's his playmaking ability. Cam Wright was able to finish it off, and an opportunity for the and one. Panthers have come roaring back in the second half, and Lamar Patterson, their leader, has had a lot to do with that. Not only scoring the basketball, getting out in transition on his own, but also finding his teammates. Patterson leads the Pitt Panthers in assists, and he has done a great job really just keeping the pedal to the metal against NC State in transition.
Corey Pitt in his second half is 5 of 6. NC State 1 of 6. And again, Pitt has taken the lead now for the first time in the game.
And we talked about this is a veteran Pitt group. You got a redshirt senior in Lamar Patterson, redshirt senior in Talib Zana, Cameron Rice, a junior. They've got a number of guys out there who've been through the battles before. They weren't going to panic even though they got down big. These guys were going to continue to keep playing.
Warren, big bucket for NC State.
And they needed that. And when you think about NC State offensively, they're going to have to go through T.J. Warren to keep them from Pitt really get momentum in this game.
Warren's first points here in the second half. Inside, Talib Zana.
And NC State now going to the zone defense, but that's not what Coach Godfrey wanted to see. When you play against a zone, you're supposed to be able to protect the basket. And Talib Zana getting an easy look.
Barber drives, can't hit it. Vandenberg can't follow. And quickly in transition the other way. Pitt looks like a totally different team here in this second half.
And because of Lamar Patterson. And Lamar Patterson doesn't have to look for a guard when he gets a rebound because he can make plays. Coach Dixon is more than comfortable with the ball in his hands.
You mentioned this, a Pitt veteran team. You can really tell it. They were down 15 in the first half. They just come up with another turnover. And NC State foul. Pitt will go to the free throw line.
Talib Zana finding a spot in the middle of the zone and really having an opportunity with the uncontested layup, but not as uncontested as this. The parting of the Red Sea, literally, when you talk about the pain of NC State as Lamar Patterson's coming down the lane, someone has to stop the basketball. A cardinal sin in the game of basketball is allowing anyone to dribble full court and have an easy layup.
Pitt in transition today has been phenomenal. Now they have their largest lead by 6. 13-0 here in the second half. Mike Young, you mentioned the veterans. Mike Young, a freshman, has made a big impact on this Pitt team. Just hit those 2 free throws.
And that's one of the things that Jamie Dixon told us earlier was the fact that they have big guys who can go to the free throw line and make free throws, and very few teams have that. That's why they've been shooting free throws so well in the year. Normally they get it from their guards, but their big guys have really allowed them to step up into the next level.
Cat Barber to the line. Barber has 6 assists already today, but has not shot the ball well. 2 for 8. This is his first free throw.
And that's where he scores a lot of his points because he puts so much pressure on the opposing team's defense. He gets fouled a lot, and he's a very good free throw shooter, and getting opportunities there takes advantage of those too.
Pitt lead is 5. The 3 won't go from Patterson. He's a good three-point shooter. Now he's going to drive. He's going to pick up the foul and count the bucket. You're right. He's been the difference maker here in this second half.
Welcome to the ACC, Lamar Patterson, and he has really put on the show here in the second half. We talked about how he got going at the end of the first half, and we were expecting big things from him coming out in the second frame, and he has not disappointed.
Now with 10 points in the second half, Lamar Patterson, 15 on the game. That gives Pitt its largest lead at 8. Warren. Wright will pick up the foul, his second. Well, just as Patterson has been leading Pitt, you got to believe that T.J. Warren has got to get going here for NC State. Closed captioning for ACC basketballs provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time. NC State is in the bonus That was the first free throw of the game for T.J. Warren.
And that's one of the impacts of the new rules. They're in the bonus with 13 minutes left to go in the second half. Getting there early, but a lot of them have been those freedom of movement fouls that have hurt Pitt. But yet, Pitt has found a way to really take an advantage here in the second half.
Johnson in the game for Pitt. Inside, Mike Young.
And Michael Young able to finish, but of course it's Lamar Patterson again attacking the paint and doing a great job finding his teammates passing the basketball.
Another NC State turnover. Young again. Wow. Pitt now up 10. After being down 15, Mark Gottfried is going to call timeout. Second half, Pitt is 10 for 12 from the field.
And the Panthers have arrived. Lamar Patterson creating for his teammates. Michael Young able to finish there, but not as emphatically as this finish, as he's able to get out and finish off of another NC State turnover with a huge highlight slam.
What an impressive second half so far for the Pitt Panthers in their first ever ACC game.
And I mentioned in the first half, I'm sure Pitt did not expect to come out and get punching them out 17-2 the way they did against NC State, but I also knew that they would not panic. When you talk about the guys they have on this team, and more importantly, the man on the sideline, Jamie Dixon, they are not going to panic. They've been through the fires before, they've been tested, and they have really passed here in the second half. And I'm sure the locker room was pretty calm, and these guys basically encourage themselves saying, hey, we got another half to play. We'll be better in the second half.
On the other hand, this is a fairly young NC State team. Warren, just a sophomore. And you have freshmen in Anya and Washington and Barber. Three freshmen on the floor right now for NC State. Find themselves down 10 here at home.
You say
Let's take a look now at our Haviland defensive shield with Pitt now up 4, and they've done it on the defensive end.
They have, and NC State shot 48% in the first half, but only 20% here in the second half, and Pitt has been able to turn those deficiencies for NC State end the points on the other end. So this is Pitt Panther basketball. They have traditionally been known as a great defensive team, and they've really flexed their muscle here in the second half.
And you talk about that tradition. Last year they only allowed 56 points a game. That was 8th in the nation. They set a school record for scoring defense a year ago. So that has been a trademark of Jamie Dixon teams, and we're seeing it here in the second half. Since State led by 15 at 17-2, Pitt has outscored the Wolfpack 50-25.
And you see Pitt now coming up with their other staple. They're evening it out on the rebounding because they're one of the best rebounding teams traditionally in the country. So from that standpoint, now they're the ones starting to come up with all those 50-50 balls and offensive rebounds that NC State was getting in the first half.
Steps called on Jamel Artis. To your point, remember in the first half, they were a -9 rebounding, and they've been +10 on the year, but it's been a different story here in the second half. And NC State now with their work really cut out for them, down 10.
When you look at NC State, you have 3 freshmen, a sophomore, and a transfer redshirt junior on the court right now. So it's still a very young team for NC State, and how they'll basically play this last 11 minutes of the game will show you what type of year they're going to have as they continue to grow.
I really believe, Corey, that this is an NC State team that, obviously, you made a great point. This is a new team. This is a new group of players playing together. They're going to grow as their chemistry grows during the season. And take a look at the players they lost from last year.
Well, I mean, when you think about, you look at that 5 right there. That was their starting lineup last year. So basically, they lost all their starters. T.J. Warren came off the bench. They lost a complete starting lineup right there, which unexpected transfer of Rodney Purvis. But outside of that, 2 guys going to the NBA and 2 other seniors. They lost a significant amount, probably more than anyone else in the league.
But I still say this State team has talent. And as this ACC season progresses,
Mark Goffey, one of the best recruiters in the country. They're going to always have talent, no question about that. And now he has his guys in. Of course, he came in 3 years ago, took over for Sidney Lowe, and basically inherited that team. Now he has the guys that he's recruited and able to go out and really play his style of play of basketball.
Foul is on Warren. His second. It'll send Patterson, a 79% free throw shooter, to the line. Vandenberg back in for Anya. Patterson missed them both. Warren down to the rebound. Cat Barber in the paint. Washington. Kyle Washington's first points. He's a guy they're going to need off the bench.
He is. He and Leonard Freeman, both freshman power forwards for NC State. Different styles of play. Washington more of an offensive guy, where Freeman is more of a rebounder and defensive guy, but they're going to need Kyle Washington be able to give them a presence in the post. And right here you see his ability to turn over that right shoulder with the left hand and finish. And he's a talented guy when he's catching the ball on the block.
And his career high of 10 last Saturday. And they could use offensive production like that down the stretch here. Inside, the lead's on it.
I tell you what, you can look at those 2 guys. You tell they played together for a long time. Both redshirt seniors. But Lamar Patterson's ability to pass the ball and make plays is phenomenal.
Zana now with 12 points. Right at his average. Boy, buckets tough to come by here in the second half for NC State. Turner. Foot was on the line. That's a 2.
But Jamie Dixon wanted to travel on that. He was almost at half court. screaming that was a travel. And you talk about coaching, he doesn't want to give up any points right there. He feels as though NC State stole 2 right there.
10-point lead, down to 6. Robinson back in the game, playing with 3 fouls. Boy, they are shooting lights out here in the second half. Cam Wright again.
And you talk about veterans. Cam Wright knowing a big moment right there. And he's not a guy that searches for shots, but he put that one on his shoulders, went out and just got his team a bucket, knowing that NC State was trying to build momentum.
How about 12 of 15 from the field in the second half? Deep 3 from Turner.
Lamar Patterson continuing with his playmaking ability, and you're talking about tight spaces. Look at that beautiful pass from Lamar Patterson, and Zana understanding where his teammate was going to get it to him, but Ralston Turner with a huge shot to step it up for NC State on the other side.
6 assists now for Patterson. That shot blocked by Zana, who's having a real impact in the paint. Cam Wright on the drive. And it's Zana with the rebound. Timeout call. 58-50. Pitt up 8. Back after a word from your local ACC station. The ACC mobile app features live games, videos, scores, stats, and news. Download it on your phone, iPad, or Android. Your teams, your app. The ACC mobile app presented by Outback Steakhouse. Download it today. Boy, the second half numbers, what a story for Pittsburgh.
And you see shooting 75% from the field and 16 points in transition. Right now, Pitt has a 22-9 advantage in fast break points against NC State. And Lamar Patterson is a huge reason why, because he as a small forward basically is able to push the ball. NC State just can't get their defense set.
And Corey and TJ Warren only 4 points here in the second half. And he just turned it over. Behind the back. Trying to get a little too cute there on the fast break.
I like it, no question. I like it. Regardless, it might not have been completed, but I like it. It was a great pass. I just don't believe that his teammate was prepared for it. But it was still a great pass. It should have ended up being 2 more transition points for the Panthers.
This is the first game of a busy day in the ACC. Coming up, many of you will see Miami, Syracuse, or Georgia Tech, Maryland, so stay tuned for that. We've still got a ways to go here in Raleigh. Robinson open for three. And Zana, another rebound, he traveled.
And although you never want a turnover, it makes NC State have to come down and play against a set defense from Pitt. NC State was playing well early, getting out of transition, but we haven't seen much of that at all. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that Pitt's almost scoring every time they come down. It's hard to run against a team when you're taking it out of the basket.
Here's Turner, has it knocked away, and he's fouled. That's going to be on Deron Johnson, his second.
That's the 19th foul.
Remember, State has been in the bonus for a while. Warren, who's 2 for 2 from the line, will go back to the stripe.
But T.J. Warren has had to work here in the second half, and you look at his numbers, 7 to 18 from the field. T.J. Warren leads the ACC in field goal percentage. He's normally not having to take 18 shots to get his points, but he's the guy right now that Pitt has made, especially in the second half. They have tightened up everything on him, and he has really unable to get it going in the second half.
Cam Wright, who's had a big impact in this second half, is back in for Pitt. NC State is perfect for the line. 13 of 13 today from the free throw line for the Wolfpack. The foul is going to be on Kyle Washington.
Like, I got a chance to talk to both James Robinson and Lamar Patterson before the game, and I asked them, I said, okay, guys, is this different playing in the ACC? They both just looked at me and said, we'll see. But they, they had that calm, quiet conference about them, letting everybody know, hey, we play basketball. This is basketball. Regardless of the team, we're still going to go out and do what we do as Pitt Panthers. They took a punch in the mouth early, but ever since then, they have definitely been the better team on the court.
Michael Young, the freshman, hits the free throws. He's been an impact player on a veteran team. Warren. Boy, nothing's gone right for him in the second half. Patterson, deep three. Turner. Boy, they could use some shooting from the three-point specialist, Ralston Turner. Zana and one. What a move by Khalid Zana. Again, he has had a huge impact in the paint today.
He has, and you see really the senior leadership from he and Lamar Patterson showing up huge in second half. And Zana understanding that Vandenberg is definitely bigger. However, he can use his quickness to get to the other side of the rim and able to finish. And to leave Zana starting to step it up now, he's all of a sudden having a huge game here and big production in the second half.
By the way, T.J. Warren has gone to the bench for NC State. Maybe get his win, knowing that if they are to come back, they're going to need him in the final minutes.
And one of the things for NC State, they're right now not a very good three-point shooting team, so they can't afford to get into a huge deficit simply because it's more difficult for them to come back, but they're not going to shoot the three to do it.
Warren was just 1 for 7 in the second half. There's another turnover. Well, you talked about it. All of the 50-50 balls have gone the way of Pittsburgh here in the second half.
But you see that guy in there, number 3, Cam Wright. He's the glue guy for this Pitt Panther team. And we talked about what Lamar Patterson brings to the table. James Robinson, the ultimate winner. But in my opinion, Cam Wright is that glue guy because he goes out, he takes on the other team's best player. He's the better defender. He does all you see him diving on the floor. He does all the dirty work, and he doesn't ask for shot attempts in return. He just goes out and does it regardless of the way offense is going.
That was the first missed free throw by State today. Now, Ralston Turner, a good shooter. You'd think he'd be a good free throw shooter, but only 57% on the year from the line.
Well, one thing about three-point shooters, they don't get to the line much. So when you don't get there often, all those misses, when you have a miss, it pays off big. You can see that percentage start falling lower and lower.
Well, the free throw cuts it to 10, 63, 53 as Mark Gottfried has taken a timeout now with 5:07 left. NC State trying to battle to get back in it here.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Food Line, official supermarket of the ACC. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC. And by Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC.
Pitt Panthers, only one loss on the season. That's to Cincinnati by a point in the Jimmy V Classic in New York. This their first true road game of the season. They find themselves up 10 here. 5 minutes to go.
I picked the Pitt Panthers to finish third in the ACC this year. And this team that we've seen here in the second half is the team I was expecting. Caught me a little off guard early, but you have to know that this is a very well-coached team. They have veteran players, and they're prepared for conference play regardless as to whether it's the ACC or the old Big East.
Well, the media disagreed with you and picked them sixth.
Well, the media doesn't know as much as
I understand that. Patterson. Oh, my goodness.
And the media may not have known about that guy because he was not on the preseason ACC team. But I tell you, at the end of the year, he could very well be there.
Turner at the other end. That preseason ACC team is going to change. T.J. Warren wasn't on it either. Right at the other end. Warren up at the scorer's table, set to come back in for NC State. NC State can't waste a lot of time here. Without Warren, it's tough to find somebody to go to for the points. Lee can't hit it. It'll belong to NC State as they try to climb back. 3:39. Lamar Patterson has been the difference in the second half for the Pitt Panthers. And we've seen senior Lamar Patterson of Pitt bring his team back and on top here in the second half.
Well, Mike, there are a lot of guys in the ACC that can score, and there are a lot of great assist men, but there are very few that can do both. But Lamar Patterson might be at the top of that list. Not only a guy that can knock down the three as he shows you, but he gets his teammates involved, and that's one of the reasons that Pitt is so dangerous. He leads them in scoring, and he leads them in assists, but he's a tough-minded kid who is more than willing to take on the challenge on both ends of the floor.
Big bucket by Ralston Turner, his second three of the day. Patterson, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Here's Robinson. Great drive to the bucket. Those are the first points today for James Robinson.
And that's James Robinson. That's his makeup. He's a guy that may not show up huge in the stat sheet, but he always makes big shots, timely shots. And you see NC State trying to get momentum. And James Robinson not only comes up with the basket, but now a steal, an opportunity to get out in transition for 2 more points.
How about that? No points in the entire game in the last 15 seconds has got 4. He leads the ACC in assist-turnover ratio. It's a big part of this team. James Robinson.
I can tell you, James Robinson plays in the Team Takeover AAU organizations I coach in. One thing about him, and anybody who knows James Robinson, they could have watched this game at the beginning. They could have loved NC State and then looked over and said, wait a minute, James is playing for Pitt. They're going to win. That's the type of reputation he has as a winner. People know when he's on the court, his team is always going to have a chance.
The lead is 12. What a big steal and bucket that was by Robinson. Largest lead has been 14. And it's just equal as Patterson now has 20. Under 2 minutes to play. And things are looking good for Pittsburgh here in their first ever ACC game. Their first true road game of the season. They trailed 17-2 at the start of the game and are now up 72-58.
And you see, look at Pitt. They put the ball in the hands of everyone, not just that point guard, but all 3 of their perimeter players can make plays at crunch time. And that's one of the advantages and why I felt like this team would be so good this year.
Used up a lot of clock on that possession. Lee, my goodness, what a tough half T.J. Warren has had. You just don't see him miss that shot.
Well, he's never had to play against this type of competition for as long. I mean, Pitt put him at #1 in their scouting report, and he's got good numbers. Not great, but he's had to work so hard to do everything this afternoon.
This guy's worked hard too.
James Robinson getting inside the paint. Again, he's not going to wow you on the stat sheet, but he's going to make winning plays at all times. And when you talk about winning, you can do it with a guy like this. Lamar Patterson has shown you every facet of the game of basketball, now taking it to the post and really can clinch it here at the free throw line.
You mentioned T.J. Warren having a tough time. He was 6 for 12 in the first half, 1 for 8 in the second half. And this is the guy that's #1 in the ACC in field goal percentage.
And that was the thing, you know, my key for the game for Pitt was to make T.J. Warren have to work for a shot. Don't give him anything easy. And in the second half, they did that. He was able to get loose in the first half, get out in transition, get a couple easy runs to the basket. But in the second half, Pitt covered up the rim.
Minutes to play. Warren finally gets a bucket here in the second half. Lamar Patterson, 22. That has been the difference. 17 of them have come here in this second half.
And you watch Pitt in the game. Cam Wright, James Robinson, Lamar Patterson. What they do is they put the ball in the hands of the guy who has the worst perimeter defender on them. Cat Barber is one of the best on-ball defenders, so they're not going to keep giving the ball to James Robinson and allow Cat Barber to harass him. They'll just put it in Patterson's hands and allow him to make a play.
How big is this win going to be for Pitt? On the road, ACC, opening of the season. It's going to give them a lot of confidence.
I don't think they need it, honestly. I think they're confident enough to where you know, the thing about Pitt and Syracuse and even Notre Dame to an extent, they're not looking at it as an outsider coming in. They're looking at it as they're coming in to try to win a different league. Jamie Dixon said it best when he felt like they left the best conference in the country to come to what will now be the best conference in the country, and they have a lot to do with that.
No doubt about it. You know what? You've convinced me. Pitt's going to finish a lot higher than 6. On the road, they get a win over NC State, 74-62. Lamar Patterson leads the way with 22. We'll be back in Raleigh in a moment. (74-62) the final. That's all from here in Raleigh. Coming up next, many of you will see either Miami at Syracuse or Georgia Tech against Maryland. Been a great day for Corey Alexander and our entire ACC Network crew. Mike Hogwood here, reminding you you've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on the ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.